Today I'm creating a one-page layout with the 5 items for the Craft with 5 challenge. Hey, it's Beth. Welcome. This is the Craft with 5 collaboration. This is a challenge I started last year where each month you are given 5 prompts to work with, and whatever type of project you decide to create, you have to use all 5 prompts on that project. And decided to carry it into 2026 because it was good for me in the fact that it helped kind of stretch my creativity a little bit and use things that I wouldn't necessarily normally think to use. So I do have some friends that are playing along with me, and there is a playlist linked in the description box below for the YouTube participants, and then a link to Kathy, who's participating over on Instagram. So this month, the 5 prompts were snowflakes, either silver or gray, blue, an image stamp, and a punch. So I have to use those 5 things. So I like to use this challenge to work on some of my scrapbooking. So I pulled out some photos from 2020, which is the year I'm currently working on scrapbooking, that were kind of like winter themed. I didn't have any other like snow events to scrapbook, so this is ice skating, kind of an outdoor event. It does have some Christmassy to it, but I'm not going to play up the Christmas. I'm going to play up the winter. So I pulled out some papers from my stash that have like snowflakes and blues and grays. I pulled out 2 stamp sets from Cartabella that have winter images on them, and then I have the bits and pieces and journal bits from the Feeling Frosty from Simple Stories, and I pulled this particular collection out. I don't have anything else to the collection, but I pulled these out because they have like some pinks and kind of teals in them, which work with the pictures. So there's that, and then I will either be using probably circle punches. I did pull a snowflake punch out of my stash, but I don't know if I'm going to use that since I do have other snowflakes in some of the other items that I've pulled out. So this is what I have to work with. I'm going to come up with a plan, and then we will come back and work on creating a one-page layout for my 4 photos. I already have a start on where or how I want my photos to be placed, so I just need to figure out what I want to do with the pattern paper. I end up cutting that tree paper into like a 4-inch strip. I'm going to slide it there, and then since that was the only 12 by 12 piece of pattern paper that I had, and then trying to decide which paper I want to go horizontal behind my photos, and I decide on that snowflake paper. So now I have pulled in blue, gray, and snowflakes, and just fiddling with the placement of my photos. It feels like I'm always fiddling. And then I decided to go ahead and start bringing in some of the pieces of ephemera from the ephemera packs that I had brought over, just to kind of get a feel for what I have, where things might go. I'm looking at these tags to see if there's any title opportunities in there, but there's not. But I do feel like one would be good for some journaling. So essentially what I do whenever I create a scrapbook page is I kind of dry fit everything before I start gluing things down. So I'm doing more than I normally would here just because of, I don't know, once I got started on the embellishments, I just kept going. Normally I kind of wait with the embellishments once I know my photo placement, but I just decided to go ahead and kind of keep playing with the embellishments, and then remembered I needed to bring in my punch, so I do end up just going with the circle punch. I found a piece of scrap cardstock that worked with the colors in the pad, and then just trying to get an idea of which stamp set I might be using and what I would want to use from that. So once I get my layout kind of how I want it, I do use my phone to take a quick picture and then use that picture as a reference, because I'm going to take it all apart and then put it all back together again with adhesive. If you would like to play along with Craft with 5, I do have a blog post linked in the description box below where you can find the schedule of prompts for the rest of the year. Like I said, each month there's like 5 prompts that you have to include on your projects. And again, any type of crafty project goes. It can be paper crafting, it could be DIYing, some kind of decor project. It could be sewing, it could be painting, it doesn't matter. But you do like mixed media, as long as you include the 5 prompts somehow on your project. So it's pretty flexible. And then, the prompts themselves are usually pretty flexible. Hopefully you have something that fits within those prompts. But they're, like I said, that will be linked in the description box below. You can it's a free download to the schedule is a free download. You can download that, print that out, and play along with us if you'd like. And if you do play along, be sure to use the hashtag #CraftWith5 and tag me. So I'm pretty much everywhere as at Bourbon Creek Crafts. So tag me so that I get notified that you are playing along with us and I can see the projects that you're creating. Like I said last year, I found it to be a good challenge for me. Kind of helped me think outside the box. Sometimes do some things. I get stuck, especially at this point where, I'm so far behind on scrapbooking and I'm focusing on quality, but not overly detailed quality, if that makes sense. So at least with this challenge, it kind of helped me branch out a little bit and do some things that I wouldn't normally do. Like I probably wouldn't stamp on a layout, or like you'll see I end up adding my stamps directly to my base page. I wouldn't necessarily think to combine some of the things that I do throughout this challenge. So it's been really good. And it also, the main point is to help you use your stash as well. So I ended up finding, it's small, but I ended up finding a little piece in there that said Winter Fun, and so I'm going to use that as my title. And now I can go in and start gluing down the clusters. At least I was able to find some ice skates in there to kind of go with the theme of ice skating. And the reason I wanted to pull pinks in is just because, like, I have pink in my jacket and my gloves. The girls have pink in their coats and their hats. So I wanted to throw in some pops of pink with all the blues and the grays. And then cluster-wise, I have one going up in that top right. And then the skates just seemed to fit best in the bottom right because they were facing in towards the layout. And then the trees worked really well in the bottom left. So I kind of wanted to keep that as my clusters, but when I added the tag in for the journaling and then that circle, it kind of went up a little higher, and then, my title is going to go up at the top. So I have more cluster spots than I necessarily normally would do. Normally I kind of, do groups of 3, or you keep that visual triangle going, but just with where the title fit and kind of the pieces I was using, I have a little bit more clusters, which is fine. I still think it looks balanced and good. Going back to the stamp sets, I decided that I just wanted to do some snowflakes. And originally, at this point, I was like, well, I was looking for one that would be simple to fussy cut, because I was like, I'll stamp it on some white and fussy cut it out and kind of use it to pepper around my clusters. And then as I realized I'm using black ink, because I had forgotten to bring ink over and was too lazy to go get blue ink. And I thought, oh, well, black ink will really actually stand out enough on my base page. So I'm going to stamp directly onto the base page, and then I don't have to fussy cut out. So that is what I end up doing. I do the bigger snowflake, and then I end up coming back in with a smaller snowflake just to have additional accents. And then these kind of act as, you know, what you would use an enamel dot for, essentially. So just pepper those just to kind of help create some little clusters around my title. And then I do add one down by the trees. And there were some some word stickers from, I had this like a full collection at some point, and then had little bits left over. And then I think I ended up getting one of the other ephemera packs later on. And so I just kind of kept them all together. And so there are some stickers. I ended up pulling in one that says "Oh So Cold" for down there at the bottom under the trees. And then "Winter Days" went up at the top with the mittens. And then the phrase down with the ice skates says "Stay warm." So I found an ephemera piece that will cover up the hole on the tag, like another snowflake, and then found a little heart that will accent my circle there. So I did do my journaling off camera, and this is my completed layout. Again, be sure to check out the playlist link in the description, as well as the link for the blog post. Thank you guys so very much for your time, and I hope you all have a very crafty day.